Coming up right now on our noon broadcast, Congressman Tom Reed tells us that the region has seen an acute shortages of masks, how officials now are trying to help. Plus, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell joins us live for an update on how his department is combating the COVID-19 outbreak. The news at noon starts now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Our top story, 2 new positive cases of COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, were reported in Chautauqua County yesterday. Health officials say the 2 new cases involve a man in his 70s and a woman in her 50s. There are now a total of 26 cases, with 4 active here. 19 people have recovered so far, and 3 have died. In Cattaraugus County, the health department there reported its 27th confirmed case of the virus Wednesday as well. Health officials say the case involves a male healthcare worker who lives in the northeastern part of the county. The man, officials say, developed fatigue, body aches, and occasional cough. He was tested on Monday for the virus. Officials add that the man is now at his home under quarantine with his family. Cat County officials are also now working to set up an expanded mortuary plan in response to New York State's mandate as the COVID-19 pandemic continues. You can find full details of that right now at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Well, New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo issued an executive order yesterday, now requiring all people when in public and not maintaining social distancing to wear face masks. Starting tomorrow, the new mandate will require a mask or face covering on busy streets, public transits, or any situation where people cannot maintain 6 feet of social distancing. The governor says there will be initially no civil penalties for noncompliance, but he's urging merchants to enforce it among their customers.
So you wear a mask, you keep it below your chin, and then when you are running and you come close to a person, you either run across the street or you put the mask up over your mouth and nose. So, look, it's not the biggest inconvenience in the world, right? It doesn't have to be a surgical mask. It could be a cloth mask. Have it with you. And if you're walk in the woods and you don't see anyone, great. If you're in the walk in the woods and here comes John Campbell, and because that's what he does a lot is walk in the woods, and you happen to run into him, then you have to put up your mask because here comes John Campbell. It's not that when you think about, look, you get everybody's working so hard to spread the disease. The harm done if someone gets the disease, the number of people impacted, the healthcare workers, wear the mask. What's the big deal? It can be a mask, it can be a cloth, it can be a bandana, you can make it colorful, you can have a design, make it advertising. What's the big deal, right? Risk reward is life.
On Sunday, the governor announced a similar executive order directing employers to now provide face masks or coverings for essential workers who are directly interacting with the public. Well, Congressman Tom Reed is clarifying the state of mask supplies and demands throughout our area. Reed tells us that every county in the 23rd Congressional District has seen some sort of acute shortage of masks within the last 30 days.
Each and every day, we get better and better at meeting those acute shortages. That's why we do our daily hospital calls, our daily touch gloves with them on the front lines. And by having those direct lines of communications, I can tell you that it's getting less and less pervasive over the entire county. But we still do have hotspots that pop up every once in a while.
Now, for personal use, officials say to use cloth masks rather than those N95 or surgical masks that would be reserved for medical professionals. Well, the United States is preparing for a new chapter in this coronavirus pandemic with new federal guidelines on how to reopen the economy to be unveiled later on this afternoon. John Lawrence has the latest from Washington.
President Trump says the U.S. is doing well in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
These encouraging developments have put us in a very strong position to finalize guidelines for states on reopening the country.
The FDA has issued emergency authorization for 2 more antibody tests that could identify people who might be safe to work. However,
with viruses that we deal with all the time, when you develop an antibody after infection, it almost invariably means you're protected. We don't absolutely know that for sure yet.
the White House is expected to give benchmarks on how to ease social distancing, but governors have the final word on when and how they'll move their economies forward.
Let's find out where we are. Let's find out the facts, then we'll make a decision. Everyone has been wrong about everything for this entire duration.
One big city mayor saying Americans might not be able to go to athletic stadiums or arenas until 2021 at the earliest.
We've got many, many miles to walk before we're going to be back in those environments. But I hope we can perhaps watch sporting events without audiences on TV. Of course, listen to concerts as we've been doing.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thank you. The current federal guidelines for social distancing expire at the end of the month and are not expected to be renewed. An area restaurant spent Wednesday dishing out free meals for hospital workers here in Jamestown. Basil and Bones set up their food trailer to serve pulled pork mac and cheese, pasta and meat sauce, and chicken and biscuits to staff at UPMC Chautauqua Hospital. The restaurant's manager, John Calamari, says this is his restaurant's way of saying thank you to healthcare workers.
At the end of the day, without having that home base, without being that fabric of the community and being able to draw those people in and treat them right, you really have nothing. You know, it's so important to take care of the people that you are so close to in your hometown.
Now, in the past, Basil and Bones has hosted several fundraisers for local Little League teams and nonprofit groups as well. Currently, the restaurant remains open for takeout, and they say they've set up their food truck outside of their restaurant on Thursdays through Sundays, starting at 1 p.m. To learn more about Basil and Bones, viewers can check out their Facebook page. Certainly great to see them giving back to the community, and especially to those frontline workers who are really doing an amazing job trying to help those who are impacted, not just by COVID-19, but pretty much any ailment that you need to go to the hospital for. We thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Haley, hello to Stephanie, Kyle, good to see you. Good to see Julie as well, and good to see Harley. We thank you all so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to try to keep you updated in regards to the local COVID-19 outbreak. Another big story that's happening right now is our weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us with that. And Dakota, it looks like this is the Salamanca camera. Is it broken? Or is this
no, the camera is, well, actually, no, the camera is not broken. It is working, but this is the snow that is falling across much of the area. So, yeah, the visibility is down to almost nothing in these snow bands. And again, we threw this out on social media, you know, I think just a couple hours ago when the snow band came through Chautauqua County. This is what you're going to see if you drive through this limited visibility and the snow coming down right now. So this is on top of the Seneca Allegheny Casino overlooking I-86 eastbound. And the snow fell last night. Our own Jesse Norad, who's on our sales staff here, shot this video last night of the snow that was coming down last night. And yeah, there's going to be more of this coming on the way. So here it is on the radar. It's that same burst of snow that moved through basically the western southern tier earlier this morning. It is now in Cattaraugus County, and with this you can expect possibly about a quick ½ inch to 1 inch of snowfall accumulation out of it, and the visibility is going to become the bigger problem with this. Again, you saw on that camera almost nothing there at that camera site, and these are the snowfall totals so far that we got in this morning. Franklinville 2.6 inches, Silver Creek 2.5, Kennedy 2.1, Randolph 2 inches, Jamestown 1.5, and Dunkirk ½ inch. And of course, we're going to add a little bit more to that today and more tomorrow. We squeezed out 35 yesterday, so that was way below average of 57. 83 and 17 are the record books for today. So basically through the remainder of the day, partly to mostly cloudy, scattered snow showers across the southern tier and northwestern Pennsylvania. An additional spotty ½ inch to about 1 to 1.5 inches in spots. 30 on the highest hills, 37 near the Lake Erie shoreline with a west wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. It turns colder tomorrow, more snow on the way, then a rebound next week. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up, Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell joins us live to talk about how local officials are continuing to respond to the COVID-19 outbreak. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
This is Christine Schuyler, Chautauqua County Public Health Director, with a very important message. We need you to make every effort to protect yourselves and our healthcare workers. If you absolutely don't need to go out, don't. If you have a mild cold or flu-like symptoms, with or without a fever, stay home. If your symptoms are severe, call your healthcare provider. Do not go to the emergency room or urgent care. Do not call 911 or go to the ER unless you are experiencing a life-threatening emergency. The best ways you can help prevent the spread of COVID-19 are to wash your hands often with soap and water, cover your cough, avoid close contact with others. Please stay home.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Chautauqua County Executive PJ Wendell joins us now to talk more about how the county continues to combat the COVID-19 outbreak. Executive Wendell, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, earlier this week, we saw 2 days in which the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 didn't rise. What does that tell you and your team about the status of this outbreak?
Well, we look at the data that it comes in every day, and looking at that, could it be said, we're seeing a slowdown potentially, but then yesterday we reported 2 more positive cases. So, we just have to take the information as it comes day to day. It's a very fluid situation, and we evaluate the data that comes in and try to get a handle on that as we move forward.
Now, this week, your office, along with many governments around the state, extended their state of emergency declarations. Now, some of our viewers seem to draw some criticism because state officials say it appears that the worst is behind us. Can you explain why the extension was made?
Well, I spoke with our legal counsel, and as we looked into this, when we first issued the declaration of emergency, the emergency declaration, FEMA had not been activated. So I wanted to make sure that the residents of the county, our towns, our municipalities were all protected. And by continuing that, we believe that it would also keep us eligible for any FEMA funds moving forward. If the governor lifts the ban, we lift the ban as well. We could end the state of emergency at any time. But I wanted to make sure that we did not jeopardize any FEMA reimbursement. So continuing extending our state of emergency did not elevate our status at all. Its status remains the same. And as we're able to, cancel that state of emergency, we will do so when we're able. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't jeopardize any FEMA funding as we move forward. Usually FEMA is there in the side of an emergency or disaster. So you see, the damage done, but right now we don't. So I didn't want to put anybody's municipality, towns, or the county at risk of potentially not getting funding. We don't know how this is going to play out. So continuing that's 30-day state of emergency, we felt confident would also keep us eligible for any FEMA funding.
And you're exactly right in that sense, where if we normally think of a state of emergency being declared, we think of some sort of severe flooding or tornado or something like that, or big fire. But in this case, it's almost like the ailment is invisible in a sense.
It is. Some have called it an invisible war. I don't know if there's a real term for it, but there is. It's an invisible hurricane, an invisible storm that we don't see the damage. We can't look outside and say, oh, we're in a horrible situation, because depending on how you look outside, if you think the snow is any indication if things aren't well, then that's one way to look at it. But We don't see it as we would, like you said, Justin, in a storm or flooding, but we know it's out there. We know it's devastating everybody, including our finance, our businesses, our small economy. So, we want to make sure that everyone is protected moving forward.
Now, Congressman Tom Reed tells us that each county in the district has observed some sort of acute shortage of masks within the last 30 days. Do you know if there's still any shortages out there here in Chautauqua County?
Right now, I know that the county does have a supply of masks that we are able to get to our healthcare providers and individuals that need them. We're focusing on our healthcare providers, our nursing homes, hospitals, healthcare, et cetera. That's where the focus is right now, to make sure our frontline workers are maintained and their safety is maintained. I have not heard, we get a daily report from John Griffith as of any shortages, but obviously there have been shortages throughout different counties in New York State and nationwide. There's still continues to be a shortage of the surgical mask, procedural mask, or N95. But at the county right now, we have an ample supply to take care of our needs.
How has cooperation between yourself, fellow county executives, and other officials in the state been? It seems like it'd be important in order to share information.
Oh, it is. When this first happened, we were meeting every night on a conference call with NYSAC, the New York State Association of Counties, and county executives, county administrators, county leaders across the state. We're all on conference calls, over 100 people on each call, and we are able to share information, continue to express concerns, share things that have worked, things that haven't worked. So it's been great. Myself, I'm in contact with Mark Policars daily, whether it's an email or a text, just to see how they are. The other county executives from across the state, County Executive Albany County, Orange County, Westchester, I've reached out and asked if there's anything, they need from us, or if there's anything that, anything they could share. A lot of them have been sharing things as to what to do, how fast to get on the game, I guess you would say, and get things moving. So, yeah, a great deal of communication, a great deal of effort. Steve Aquario, the executive director of NYSAC, has been just instrumental in keeping everybody together and united. And in turn, I do the same thing here in Chautauqua County. It was 3 days a week. Now it's Mondays and Fridays. I have a conference call with all of our town supervisors, village mayors. And on Wednesday, I have a conference call with all of the highway superintendents throughout Chautauqua County. So, my conversations and my contact with other leaders across the state is continuing. And also I keep continuing the conversation with our local leaders to make sure they're aware of things and up to speed on the information I get.
Now, yesterday, Cattaraugus County, which isn't too far away, officials there announced that they're constructing a plan to build an expanded mortuary in the event that COVID deaths would increase. Does Chautauqua County have such plan, or will we soon?
We have a plan already. It's been implemented. We've just been waiting. We're in a stable position right now with only three. We've had unfortunate 3 fatalities, but we do have plans in place. We do have a plan ready to go. We have people ready to mobilize quickly to get that into action. But we've been rest assured. We've been speaking with our local funeral directors, and they feel very confident that right now they are very capable of handling any increases that we would get. So, yes, we've reached out to the funeral directors. They're on board. They're ready to go. And also, we do have plans in case we need to create a temporary or makeshift morgue should the need arise.
Now, last week, you highlighted the dairy industry during one of your COVID updates online. And are local farms still dumping tremendous amounts of milk, or have we seen the sales go up a little bit once the awareness was made?
I haven't received any additional information on the dairy industry here in Chautauqua County. To my knowledge, our farms were not dumping their dairy products. We were still able to get that to market. But again, if that has changed, no one has reached out to me yet. And anyone listening, if you hear otherwise, feel free to contact my office. We keep in constant contact with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we haven't heard anything yet. But I know one of the concerns was, were there any bans still or limits to the number of dairy products you can buy? I haven't heard of any. Again, if people do hear of limits on dairy product purchase, please let me know. There should not be any. There have not been any limits here. Again, we're reassured that our health and food system are robust, and we want to continue. And again, help those local farmers, because it's local farmers that are producing milk. There's also the farmers that produce the grain to those dairy farms. So it's not just one group. There's other farms that are affected in this event, in this crisis, that deal with our dairy industry here in Chautauqua County.
And I would imagine too that just not during the COVID outbreak, but generally we want to try to have that mindset of supporting local, even though now business-wise it might not be as easy because you have to abide by social distancing. It's not like you can go out and have a sandwich at a local restaurant. But there's still a number of ways that people can get out there, and I know that website that the county has launched seems to be a really great resource for people.
It does, and you see people posting online, CHQ Buy Local, and it's really done a great. There's also another Facebook page, Restaurants to Go, I believe it is. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure, but there is a Facebook page on the restaurants that are open. I'll tell you, if you go on, if you happen to catch it in your lunchtime and you're hungry, you're at a loss, because there's some great pictures of some phenomenal food there. But again, supporting those local businesses that are out there that are still maintaining their businesses during this crisis is important. I did my college time in Brockport, and the garbage plate's always been a nice delicacy for myself. So I know the Coach's Corner has brought back the garbage plate. So, seek out those restaurants, look at our website, and, visit the restaurants and patronize them, because, like everybody else, they're in this to help everyone. We've seen, as you saw, Basil and Bones has done a great outreach there with UPMC Chautauqua. So all of our businesses are doing the best they can for the residents of Chautauqua County, and just want to remind everybody to support them whenever you get a chance.
And I was about to ask about that. We're rolling some of the footage now from yesterday. People showing their support, whether it would be law enforcement, first responders coming out last week to UPMC to show their support. Now restaurants, and I know Basil and Bones is not the only one who has given back in that sense. What is, as a leader of the county, what's your reaction to that, to see all these people coming together?
If I lift my sleeve, I can show you the chills I have right now. It's amazing. It really and truly is amazing to show the heart and compassion of our residents here in Chautauqua County. You can't say enough. We may have differences. People may have issues throughout the time, but you know what? In every event of a crisis, and being a volunteer fireman, I've seen this time and time again throughout the county. And any crisis we've had, whether it be natural disaster, the disaster of fires or fatalities, people in Chautauqua County have always risen. They put their differences aside and they come together and work. And that's really what I embrace. The unity of this county is immense, and it can't be taken away. This COVID crisis cannot ruin our spirit. It cannot ruin the drive and the desire that people have here in Chautauqua County to help one another.
And you've really been championing that there on Facebook with your CHQ Strong hashtag. This week you announced a new initiative to try to raise awareness to the importance of wearing face coverings. Now it looks like it's going to be a mandate for people here. What type of response have you seen from that initiative, and why is it so important to have those masks when out in public?
I think, we've said it from the beginning. We tried to get ahead of it a little bit and with our COVID team. And just as we started to announce that we should recommend this, the governor came out and recommended the homemade, I guess, or cloth face mask. And the emphasis I want to place to the viewers is that it protects others from you. If it's a piece of cloth or something, it does not have the prevention of things permeating that, but it does prevent your droplets from being spread to other people. And that's really what we want to emphasize is it's the individuals wearing them. You're taking responsibility to protect your neighbors and protect those around you. I've been wearing mine for the last week. When I stop, as I leave my house, I go from Lakewood to Mayville. That's about the extent of my travel. And I do stop and get a cup of coffee. And when I do, I have a great mask with flames on it in dedication to my 30 years in the fire service. And I wear that mask when I go in. And if I travel anywhere, I have it with me. I've got 2 vehicles, and I've got a mask in each vehicle. So if I get out, I have my mask on. It's important. We really want it to stress to everybody. It's just that little bit of helping one another that really is important. Again, it's that unity, that love for your neighbor that we have here in Chautauqua County, and keeping everybody healthy is part of that.
Right, absolutely. And it seems like, too, with face masks, I know here in the newsroom now, everyone here has one. And yesterday I was actually at a scene reporting, and I had it on. And it's almost like putting gloves on, if you think about it, where if you go outside, have this available. And obviously, yeah, if you're far enough away from other people, you don't necessarily have to wear it over your face. But anytime you're within those 6 feet, it's very important. And I would imagine it's not so much about us, but about the other people.
Correct, and that's what we're doing is we're protecting other people, and that's what we need to keep in mind when we do this. Yeah, yesterday I was on my way to our Falconer shop, and there was a fire in Jamestown. I stopped, and Chief Stellings was there, and his officers were wearing them. Firemen actually had their face masks on, their SCBA. So yeah, everyone's practicing the proper precautions, and it's really a matter of keeping everyone safe. And it's good people are picking up on it and continuing the effort.
All right, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell, sir, we thank you so much for your time today, and we remind our viewers that tomorrow you'll be joined by Public Health Director Christine Schuyler for your 3 p.m. weekly update, and they can watch that live right here on WNY News Now.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, it was a cold morning this morning. We bottomed out at 20 degrees this morning, and that's an important number because that's 4 degrees off the record. The record low was 17, set way back only in 2014, but it was a cold start this morning, and we've got a little bit more cold air on the way. And you can see on the satellite and radar, you can see these snow showers that have been moving through the southern tier this morning. A lot of the area, or at least the northeast, is rather dry, but that high pressure that we had has exited right out. This is really the heaviest amounts of the snow out here in Cat County. Look at this curvature to the snow band. This is that snow band that I showed you earlier, on that camera at the top of the show. That's that heavy snow. This is all moving east, so this is going to continue into Olean, I-86 going out into Allegheny County, and there's still a few snow showers popping up, to the west. And this is not just a local problem. This is a problem across much of the Northeast. Look at these watches and warnings that extend here. This is all this pink here is a winter storm warning. The purple are, essentially, some sort of a weather advisory here. So this is a long stretch system, and we're just getting wrapped up in the flow around the low. Downtown Jamestown. Yeah, that's what it looks like with the snow falling and the accumulation down there. We're at 27 at noon hour with a northwest wind of 10. We have a wind gust of 18, and the wind chill is 18. Oh, man, can you believe we're talking about a wind chill and it's till the end of April? Man, are we sure it's April? I don't know. Does anybody know? I don't think anybody's sure it's April at this point. So talking about tomorrow, the bigger story is going to be tomorrow. Yeah, more snow on the way. Now, there's still a little disagreement with the computer models, but we're thinking we may have to tack on a few more inches. So if you're down across the southern tier into northwestern Pennsylvania, you may need your, your snow shovel come Friday night. If you're up to the north, up to Buffalo and Rochester, not a whole lot there, just enough for a dusting, but we're going to be in this focus zone here as that low pressure area scoots by to our south. So we'll show it to you on Future Scan. There's the snow through the afternoon. That'll continue in pockets. Wind down tonight. Tonight should be partly to mostly cloudy, cold but dry. Tomorrow will likely start dry. Then we'll start to get into these widespread snow showers throughout the day tomorrow. It is going to be widespread snow tomorrow. So about a 100% chance of snow. The whole area is going to be getting something. The darker blues indicate the heavier amounts of snow. As that low pressure pulls away off the Atlantic East Coast, the snow will come to an end from west to east Friday night, and then going into Saturday. Saturday will be mainly dry with some partial sunshine. So we've taken the projected snow totals up a bit here, 2 to 4 inches across much of the area. There may be spots upwards 4.5, 5 inches, maybe up on the hills, but this higher number will likely be on the hills. Most everybody between 1 and 2 inches. Obviously, once you work further south and east down here, you'll be closer to the storm center down here. So that is where the highest amounts of snowfall will be. But everybody between 1 and 3 inches, the hills 4 to 5, and that 5 will be localized. Download the WNY News Now app. If you don't have it, why don't you? You get the forecast from these two handsome guys right here. Why not? We're the only ones in the southern tier who forecast locally. Get the app. The weather will be up there this afternoon. So zone forecast, the inland areas. Yeah, this is like January here. Lower to mid 30s across much of the area with snow at times, and the wind could be gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour. How about the next 7 days of your life? Coming up right now, 34 degrees tomorrow. Again, we're talking about 2 to 4 inches on average. Partial sunshine on Saturday, 45. Sunday, much better, but rain showers turns breezy once again. Sun is back on Monday, 52, and a few rain and snow showers on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, we're back up to near 50, but a mostly dry day. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and the mobile app. See you tomorrow.